This is THV 11 News at 6.
Hello, and thanks for joining us here at 6. I'm Brooke Buckner. Tonight we're continuing our election coverage, but right now our main focus is the weather, and we do have a weather impact alert issued. Chief Meteorologist Tom Brannon is over in the Weather Center tracking the latest on the storms heading our way. What's going on, Tom?
Well, that's right, Brooke. Myself and, of course, our new spider friend tracking storms for you tonight. They're not quite in central Arkansas. In fact, they haven't really entered the state. We've had one cell in northeast Arkansas that sustained over the northern counties, but we do have broken clouds outside. We've had enough sunshine today to warm us into the 70s, so a little fuel for those thunderstorms. Let's talk more about that weather impact alert roughly from now through midnight, and this is for mainly western and northern Arkansas, although central Arkansas could see a stray shower or storm. They could be severe, damaging wind gusts and hail, the primary concerns, although you can't rule out a tornado, and a marginal flood risk. These storms are going to have a lot of fuel, a lot of moisture to work with, so flash flooding is a possibility. As always, we invite you to stay tuned. Make sure you have ways of receiving severe weather information. We'll be around this evening to make sure things go well. And we have a couple of severe thunderstorm watches. This one issued not long ago for northwest and western Arkansas. That does include a few counties in the THV 11 viewing area. And until 9 o'clock tonight, northern and north central Arkansas also under a watch. And right now, we're not looking at any severe weather in the state. That cell is getting ready to push out of Arkansas into southern Missouri, but we've got more developing on the heels here as you see these individual cells, supercells, starting to fire up. Damaging, large and damaging hail is what's projected there. There's that cell real quick up near Corning, Arkansas. It is moving to the east-northeast and will be leaving the state here in the next 30 minutes or so. Temperatures 79 Monticello, 65 Fayetteville. We've had enough sunshine to add some instability, and that's what storms will feed from tonight. I'll have the timing and information you need to know on when storms may impact you coming up in a few minutes.
Thank you, Tom. Over to some sad football news now. Legendary Razorback coach Lou Holtz has died. Holtz spent 7 seasons with the program, winning 60 games and making 6 bowl games. He won the Southwest Conference Coach of the Year award in 1979 and later spent a decade with Notre Dame, winning a national championship. Holtz was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2008 and was 89 years old. The results are in. Political newcomer Aaron Spencer has defeated incumbent Sheriff John Staley and challenger David Bufford in the Republican primary for Lonoke County Sheriff. And now we look ahead to what could come next. Spencer made national headlines in October of 2024 when he was charged with murder after shooting the man accused of sexually abusing his daughter. And now that he is one step closer to potentially becoming sheriff, Carter Thweet looked into what could happen if he gets convicted.
That's right, Brooke. You've probably heard Aaron Spencer's story by now. Like you said, after the man accused of raping his daughter was released on bond, the man allegedly captured the girl again before Spencer chased him down and killed him. He's now running for sheriff, and last night's successful result brings a lot of uncertainty to Lonoke County.
I just want to thank everyone that came out and voted.
Brent Cannon won his primary for Lonoke County Justice of the Peace Tuesday night, but that's not the race making headlines.
It was way more activity than we've had in the past. I believe this is my 7th election cycle, and this was by far the toughest.
The reason for all that attention and activity is a sheriff's race that's making national news. It became even more complicated when the county clerk resigned just a week before the elections, forcing the quorum court to appoint Eddie Joe Williams just 4 days before the election.
We had help. State came in. They were so gracious. If we had questions, they knew I was new on the job. So they came in and gave us a hand.
But now things could get even more interesting. Spencer won with over 50% of the vote, but if he ends up being convicted of second-degree murder, he can't serve as sheriff. If he wins in November, takes office, and then gets convicted, it's pretty simple.
If he is convicted and has to be removed from office after the general election, the quorum court would then appoint his replacement to fill the rest of that term.
And it's equally simple if he's not guilty. He can become sheriff like anyone else. The tricky part comes if Spencer is convicted between now and the November election as the Republican nominee. State guidelines say a party can replace their candidate if they withdraw or pass away, but don't mention anything about felony convictions.
It's all uncharted water, especially for Lonoke County.
There's a lot of research that needs to be done to figure out the legalities and if the Republican Party would have a representative in the general election.
We asked the chair of the Lonoke County Republican Party to outline the process if there's a vacancy. She says that rules set up by the state say there would be a special convention of delegates who would select a new nominee. But the chairperson did go out of her way to point out that after last night's vote, Spencer is the nominee, and there are no plans within the party to change that.
Thank you, Carter. Another race we're keeping our eyes on is the one for U.S. Senate. Senator Tom Cotton won the Republican primary last night with more than 81% of the vote. Come November, he will face off against Hallie Schaffner, who won the Democratic primary by a similar margin. We got the chance to catch up with her earlier today on our morning show to hear what's next for her campaign.
Grit and faith, that's really what defines us as a state. Our farmers, our families. I came into this because I realized that hard work doesn't mean a good life anymore. I mean, all I wanted to do was farm. And I like to tell people, listen, all Tom Cotton had to do was fight for a farm bill. I wouldn't be here today.
If elected in November, Schaffner would be Arkansas's first female senator since Blanche Lincoln left office in 2011. As for Senator Cotton, we spoke to him last night. That interview can be found on our website, thv11.com. There you can also find our interviews with other candidates in some of the state's biggest races, as well as results from last night. Again, it is all on our website, thv11.com. A pair of special elections last night made sure that districts 26 and 70 would have representation in lawmakers' fiscal session in May. Ahead of the session, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders presented her balanced budget to the Arkansas legislature today. This budget provides millions, nearly $200 million in funding for the education freedom accounts, and more than $50 million for pay raises to corrections officers and state troopers. A historic election result in Pulaski and Perry County. Voters chose a new prosecuting attorney, unseating an incumbent and electing a black person to the office for the first time. THV11's Tanya Motorzitsky caught up with Bobby Forrest Jr. the day after his victory.
The race drew attention well beyond Pulaski County, and last night's result signals a major shift for the Pulaski and Perry prosecutor's office. Bobby Forrest defeated incumbent prosecuting attorney Will Jones, making history as the first black prosecutor elected for this role, a title he does not take lightly.
It just shows how long or how far we've gotten in our country and in our state, and so but it's bigger than just being the first elected black prosecutor. We built a very diverse coalition behind us. And that's exactly what I want to do when we get to the office, making sure that the office is diverse and it looks like the people that we serve in our community.
He ran on being tough on crime, helping intervene with youth before going down the wrong path, and building relationships in the community. In Pulaski County, it was a close race. Forrest receiving 52% of the vote in Pulaski County, but in Perry, Jones received more than 1,400 votes and Forrest received 597. The votes in Perry County, not enough to cover the difference in Pulaski County. Forrest says he plans to continue to build trust with Perry County residents.
During my time on the campaign trail, one of the biggest things that I heard was they feel like the stepchild to Pulaski County, and so hopefully bridging that gap will help gain the trust of those voters out there.
The race drew heightened attention in recent weeks after both Forrest and Jones faced criticism. Forrest was in the spotlight for comments attributed to past social media posts, something he did not shy away from during the campaign, and that he plans to work to fix it when officially in office January 1st.
I'm meeting with law enforcement officials, so that also gaining the trust, especially with the negative media that we've seen. So really building a trust around that I can be trusted, that I stand firm with law enforcement, and that I believe in fighting for victims.
In Little Rock, Tanya Motorzitsky, THV 11 News.
Tanya, thank you. We did reach out to current prosecutor Will Jones. He declined an interview and says he's focusing on his family at this time. Similar history will also likely be made at the county executive offices. Wendell Griffin defeated incumbent county judge Barry Hyde in the Democratic primary last night. The longtime circuit court judge played a leading role in several landmark legal cases while being an outspoken community activist. At a news conference today, he made clear those views will follow him to this new job. Griffin will face Republican Michael Rushin in November for the seat. THV 11's Catherine Rowley will have more tonight at 10. Over in Maumelle, voters are showing strong support for bond initiatives to fund major projects there, like road improvements, a police and fire training facility, and more. City officials say the next steps include finalizing those election results and beginning planning and implementation on the projects. Tonight, the FBI, alongside the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office, is looking for answers after a shooting at a large bonfire party on Fraser Pike in November. Two men, 19-year-old Kentron Dotson and 42-year-old Adrian A.J. Broadway, both from North Little Rock, were killed. A third man survived. Investigators believe Dotson may have killed Broadway and is offering a reward of up to $10,000 for anyone who has information. A string of house fires in North Little Rock has authorities on high alert. City fire marshals say crews responded to more than 16 fires in Rose City alone since last May. And after investigating, they believe they're intentional. Captain Gary Williams says the fires are happening in empty homes, so there haven't been any injuries, but he says it's still concerning for both the firefighters and neighbors in the area.
It can always be an issue, and from the standpoint of property loss, depreciation of home value of other homes in the area, and the potential of a vacant house sitting unsecured, and young children doing what they're doing, being curious, wanting to go in, look around, possibly getting hurt.
Captain Williams says so far one person has been caught, but investigators are still looking for everyone involved. If you have any information, reach out to the North Little Rock Fire Department.
And we've mentioned that things would begin to get brewing from 6 to midnight, and here we go. Showers and storms in eastern Oklahoma, one with a severe cell south McAllister. That is going to be moving to the northeast into the western and northwestern part of the state, where we have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 11 o'clock. I'll have that information and the latest timing of storms when we come back.